Hi, this is Dexter's podcast. Thanks for joining us once again. Today's dialogue or discussion is based around the history. My history basically of how I started smoking weed, where I'm at, with regards to my reverting back to non-smoker. As I sit here downtown Buffalo, watching rain turn into snow, I can't help but think 3 days ago, I wasn't even considering quitting. And the reason I quit really is so that I can do better financially, socially, for my family, my son. And also, I'm a refugee who is from a third world country. The purpose of my arrival to America was never to be a drug addict. This was an opportunity for us to work hard, to go to school, and help family members who are less fortunate back home. And although I managed to do that financially for some family members, I could have done more had I not been smoking. I don't blame the smoke itself. I blame my choices and the decisions that I made. But once I smoked and I got addicted, the addiction just pretty much ran my life. As I mentioned previously, I'm Muslim. We're expected to pray 5 times a day per our faith, which I 100%, I'm a faithful person, but I believe it in my heart. But yet I was a hypocrite who chose substance over my belief. In this earth, all you have is that. It's your faith. God is the creator of all things. Putting him last surely can be helpful. And that's what I've been doing throughout my whole time I was smoking. The one thing that I've neglected the most was my faith. Everything else, I'm not so worried about it. It's just downward spiral from there, You mess up your relationship with your creator. How are you going to relate to his creation? It's not going to be easy. When I first came to this country, I was about 12, 13 years old. In my former country, Somalia, it's where I'm from, weed and alcohol, all the hardcore drugs are a taboo. It's unheard of. It's just not culturally something that we practice. Are there people who smoke back home? I'm pretty sure. But it's not a general thing. Like, you go out here, you see bars, you see, the corner stores selling Swisher Sweets, blunts. Anybody smoking or doing alcohol back home, they're doing it out of sight. They're not doing it in front of people. It's not a socially acceptable thing. So these are habits that I've learned here. I'm not blaming the United States or, for that matter, anybody. It's a choice. I'm pretty sure if I was back home, what I'm abusing, would have been something different, but it would have just been an abuse of something. So I was a good kid throughout middle school, high performing, good grades, self-motivated. And then from there I went to college. And while I was in college, high school. In high school, I excelled. I was in honors. I was the top 10 people in my class, graduating class. And I was actually taking even college courses from 11th grade, 12th grade, my senior, junior year. I was already getting courses that count towards my college. I played sports, soccer, basketball. I played tennis, the number 2 player in my school. Even though we were probably the wackest in the district, but it still counts. I did all of those things at a time when I was under no influence, not alcohol, not I don't drink, but no influence whatsoever, no weed, no cigarettes. And then I graduated from high school, go to college, and that's where I picked up the bad habit. And it wasn't even a college student that introduced it to me. I had a best friend from high school whom I really never was friends with him in high school, but we became more closer after high school. Because in high school, this friend was a smoker. He was part of the potheads. I wasn't. I was part of the good kids, I was in sports. So those are the people I related to in high school. I related to kids that were like-minded. But in college, I had a classmate whose mother was a weed head. And given that I'm from the hood or the city and she wasn't, she inquired about how I can get them weed. Now, mind you, I don't know weed from crack to cocaine, none of that. To me, they're all the same. So what I do, I contact my friend, I'll call him Ali. And Ali was a pothead, and he was more streetwise than I was. And he said, yeah, for sure. We can make $1 or $2 from this woman. I was like, damn, okay. Got her, I don't know what it was, an ounce or something. And instead of just giving the product to the person who requested it, I got curious. I wanted to try it. So I did try it that right then and there. Walking back to my dormitory, I was giggly laughing. I felt like I was floating. And that was it. From that time forward, I was hooked. Ended up becoming roommates with a friend that introduced it to me. And within a semester, I dropped out of college because, between work, college, which in any other time I could multitask and have proven to do so in the past, I wasn't able to suddenly. Looking back, is that fuck it ingredient that made me quit. It wasn't necessary. I did owe some money to the school that was required of me to pay back before I move on to the next semester. But it wasn't nothing astronomical. And even if I went down and talked to them and made arrangements, probably could have continued with my education. But no, I said, fuck it. I started working, making money, hustling, doing some stuff on the streets that I shouldn't be. Stealing. Never did nothing bad criminal. I never hurt anybody or even small businesses or anything like that. But nonetheless, because you are, who you keep around, I was trying to fit in with my newly found friends, the cool gang, I call them. And 2 years go by, I went my own way, separately, living by myself. Realized that I was with the wrong crowd, got rid of them, stayed in touch with my best friend, but other than that, we weren't like hanging out or anything like that. But now I'm already hooked. And instead of sharing the blunt that goes around, here I am at home, all solo, going from being extroverted to introverted. I'll go to work, come home, smoke, lay around, do nothing, sleep, wake up. Pretty much a very predictable routine of two-stepping. Like, you're not doing anything more, just two-step. And even with those two steps, you're doing minimum, bare minimum. Because the whole time, you're baked. If I'm at work, I smoke weed while I'm at work. Break time, I go smoke. Lunch time, I go smoke. My other third break, I smoke. On my way to work, I was smoking. My way back, I'm smoking. And I believe that's when my addiction when it went from recreational to addiction. Something that I need, a substance. So that's a bit of my early history. And then I currently live in Buffalo. I moved to Buffalo shortly after, after having moved out with from my friends and living separately for a couple of years. I decided I was going to move out of Minnesota, where I grew up, and move to Buffalo. And the saga continues, doing the same old tricks, just in a different city, same old habit. And as it continued, I met my wife, who I ended up marrying, and my life kind of had I settled a bit for a couple of years. You know, I didn't quit the weed. I have stopped the amount of weed that I'm intaking, but it wasn't. I didn't quit. Now all I had was a family situation, new stresses added to my life, new human beings that I have to be able to go and have a life where you compromise, you know. And basically, the first couple of years were good, you know, you're enjoying the newly situation, but then same issues now resurfaced again, where bills, bickering, fighting with your, you know, my wife is a sober. She doesn't do any drugs, doesn't drink, he doesn't go to clubbing, none of that. So obviously I'm the polar opposite, so there was always conflict. And at the time, I blamed her for everything, you know. Not to say she doesn't have some wrongs on her end, but I believe a lot of it is some things that my habit instigated, you know. Especially when you have bills to pay, but then you're spending money on this expensive habit. Surely you're not going to have a happy relationship with such person. So fast forward from the first 2 years, and from there my relationship with my wife started going downhill. I ended up moving out of the state, thinking that we were going to go divorce, separated, or whatnot, and moving to another state, and that was Missouri, Kansas City, Missouri. Stayed there for 2 years, doing the same old, smoking weed, bare minimum everything. And now I have a son that I gotta raise, but he's in a completely different town. What do? Fuck it. I ended up coming back to Buffalo because I miss my son. I want to be part of his life. And I'm not gonna lie, where I'm at today started with that. When I moved back to Buffalo, I believe my changes started. I started being more conscious of my doings and started taking action. I'm gonna stop it right there, and we'll continue the rest of the story after moving back to Buffalo, how I progressed to where I'm at today. With that said, thank you for listening. Please share, subscribe, and may God bless you, bless your family. And if you're trying to quit, or know somebody in your life that's trying to quit, I'll keep them in my prayer. And I hope you know that it's doable. there's nothing that can be done with God.